Previously on The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. Oh man, okay, so Michonne's gonna finally be able to tell Rick about RJ.
Is she alive?
She's okay. She's okay, right? Yeah.
Man, nobody gives a shit about this kid. This is mostly a Michonne-focused episode. The last, 10 minutes or so is with Rick, but for the most part, we're with Michonne this episode. So it's kind of like the opposite of episode 1, you know? They kill everybody. I mean, they fucking kill everybody. Michonne is literally on her own by the time she finds Rick. I mean, literally, Nate just dies, and she says, look, that's great. You got her in here. What the fuck are you doing?
Bam!
Man, finally Rick called out that terrible haircut. You know, I do know a guy you could go to. Just make sure you got a gun on you. Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, and in today's video we're going to be doing our weekly review for this week's episode of The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. This is for episode 3, titled Bye. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. This one is my weekly review for this week's episode. This is for episode 3, titled Bye. So, we had years, we have gone, and now we have bye. Now, of course, this review is coming a little bit later than usual because, of course, I got to see the first 2 episodes early. Now we're on to just, the normal episodes where I'm watching, in normal time with the rest of you guys. So, the reviews will be coming out around this time every week now just because, I'm, of course, new to these episodes as well, too, whereas the first 2 I wasn't. I got those ones early, but, very excited to talk about this episode. This was a fantastic episode of The Ones Who Live. Once again, this show is amazing. We are halfway through, and I cannot say I have a single problem about this show. This is a incredible series with incredible acting, incredible plot, incredible budget. Love everything about it. I seriously do. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, Dan, really? You have no issues with this show? No. If there was, trust me, y'all know me. I would say it. This is a flawless show for me so far. I love it. It's so good. And, this episode is probably one of the most tragic episodes I've ever seen, to be honest. And we're going to get into that. So, basically, the episode begins with Rick. It's a flashback of around the time, roundabout when he first got there. They don't specify exactly what year it is, but early on when he arrived at the CRM. And he's in his consignee jacket. He's basically walking around in, the normal part of the community where, people are selling stuff and little markets and, paintings and stuff like that. And basically, he runs into Jadis, who has the long hair here, so we know that it's, further back. And, we kind of get them catching up. And it's pretty cool because she even says, she's like, I saved you out there. I could have left you to die, but I didn't. And Rick wants to go home. He gets pissed at her. He's like, look, I want to go home. I'm going home, And she just looks at it as he's ungrateful and stuff like that, and she doesn't really look at it as a horrible thing because this type of life that is expanding and that has a 5-year plan, according to her, is better than Rick being dead, And Rick is not having it at all, and she even has the audacity to yell out as they start walking away from each other, "You're welcome," Oh my god. So, anyway, in the current timeline, you get Rick that tells, of course, Pearl Thorne that Okafor is dead, and Okafor is, of course, a huge asset to them because he was the leader of the resistance, right? So now Thorne is talking about Michonne, or I guess Dana, and, this girl that saved Rick out there, of course, in episode 2, saved Rick, Rick took her in, and now she says that, she's going to kind of see what she can do and stuff like that, because, she maybe feels like, she sees something in her or something like that, And anyway, we get Rick that, of course, goes to Jadis. We get the scene at the end of episode 2, and she threatens, of course, Jadis threatens to, wipe everybody out. And stuff like that. And she says that, they're the last light of the world and stuff. And if you try to escape with her, I'll make sure that everybody back home dies. I'll take a reclamation team. It'll take hours. So, yeah, she threatens that. And, he's just like, what are you going to do? Like, why didn't you try to stop me before? And she's like, well, because I knew you couldn't, Now I know there's a chance. With the two of you together, you can do anything, And she walks out. So, thought that was an incredible opening scene, gave us a lot of knowledge on Jadis and where she stands and, what she'll do if Rick tries to run away, which is basically the plot of this episode, is them trying to get away. Him and Michonne. Now, we get to see Michonne as a consignee in this one, basically, and she's killing a whole bunch of walkers. One of the details I really liked about it, too, is that you get to see Grimes 68 written on the top of the wall, which is, like the highest kill count, But I get the idea as we're watching this episode, like, Michonne may have actually beaten Rick in amount of walkers that were killed, because the same thing happens with Michonne, she tries to keep a low profile, but it's almost like she can't help herself when she's killing walkers, it's like she's taking all of her anger out on these walkers, and same thing happened with Rick. People are cheering her on, the prisoners, the consignees, they like her, they view Michonne as a huge asset and stuff like that, but she's got to keep a low profile. But the one thing that she's not listening to when it comes to Rick is, don't show them who you are. Well, I don't think she did, because, to me, it's like she's doing the absolute opposite. She's killing all these walkers, doing all this stuff, becoming really noticeable to people. And, it is what it is, really. But anyway, we get a good few scenes with Major General Beal in this one. We get a couple. We get Okafor's funeral, where he pulls out this sword that he tells a quick story about. And you've also got one where he promotes Pearl Thorne to Okafor's position. So she is now taking Okafor's spot, right? Which I thought was pretty interesting. And again, Beal, he's not major, but he is in it. Again, we're probably going to get more on him soon, but it was nice seeing a few more scenes of him in this episode. In particular, like I said, when he interacted with Thorne and Rick, and then he's like, Thorne, let me talk to you separately, privately, that is, right? So that was pretty cool. And, well, basically, you get a huge escape plan in this one where, Michonne and Rick have this idea. Rick leaves her a boat for her to get on, right? And she is going to go with him, right? And you get this scene where they're kind of, following not too far behind each other. And Rick makes the decision in this episode to tell Michonne, I faked your death. It looks like you're dead. They're gonna know. Jadis knows about me. She's going to know if I run away. And Rick decides to tell Michonne through a letter, go without me. If you love me, you'll leave and you'll never come back. Wow. Rick is broken. That is one thing for damn sure. He is broken, and it's really, really sad to see. And Michonne decides, no, I'm not going to go. Rick tried to get her out, but it didn't work. And he even tells Jadis, he's just like, what was it? He's like, Michonne's gone, and Jadis didn't believe him and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, you got a terrible haircut. It was something like that. And I was like, oh my God, seriously though. I've been saying that ever since World Beyond. What the hell is that haircut? Like, seriously. But anyway, Jadis doesn't believe it for a second, does not believe it. And of course, you got Rick that is terrified now because Michonne didn't leave. So Rick wants to speak to Michonne in private. They do so. And I find it pretty insane because Michonne doesn't even say a damn word. She rips his damn helmet off, and Rick's just like, look, I've accepted the fact that I have to stay here. Otherwise they're going to kill everybody I care about. You need someone on the inside to help you get out. I'm that guy, If you don't take that, then, it's never going to happen. So, it's really sad to see Rick this broken. It really is. But Michonne is not leaving without him. And that's the big thing that we've seen in this. And it's pretty sad because she's, venturing the community and stuff inside CRM. And she finds the guy that apparently drew those cell phones and drew those paintings of her and Judith. And apparently, which this is pretty sad, Rick asked for Carl, apparently. And the guy couldn't, legitimately do it. But yeah, that was really sad. So we have a bit of an answer now on why, the pictures were drawn on the phones and the, stuff like that. The only thing I still don't know is the different language on the phone. I don't know if, they're ever going to answer that, but, maybe it was already on the phone previous to that. Who knows, honestly. But I'm pretty sure the guy said believe a little bit longer to Michonne. So he probably drew that too, although it didn't seem clear to me. Maybe I just missed something, but I'm pretty sure that was him that did it. But we didn't really get a full confirmation, but the way he said believe a little bit longer, I'm just going to roll with it and say that it was probably him. I just don't know why he didn't say it in English, but whatever. So anyway, really cool. So Michonne finds that out, kind of gives her more hope that, they got to stick together and stuff like that, And well, you do get a few more escape attempts in this one. You get, of course, the scene where they're out there and they're clearing the walkers, and you've got Michonne with this like huge thing. She's like steering it into the dead, you know, and it's pretty intense because Rick helps her, and they end up hiding behind a tree as like this thing blows up or whatever. And Rick and Michonne do end up kissing, and they're like, okay, like let's get out of here. But Rick's like, nope, this is not the way. This is not the way to do this, you know. And, well, you get a pretty intense scene where Pearl Thorne notices that Michonne is not listening, you know, to orders and stuff. And she has a bit of a Shane moment, you know, where she, like, raises the gun ever slowly, you know, you're really focusing on her with the gun, you know. Like, to me, that felt like a Shane moment, you know. She wants to kill Michonne off the record, off the books, you know, just because she doesn't like her. She doesn't like that she's not listening to orders. So that's pretty insane. And Rick purposefully gets in the way so that she doesn't shoot Michonne, which obviously makes sense. But he does it in a way where, you know, it's not obvious. Like, oh, yep, let's put this walker in front of Michonne. Boom, kill him, you know. And then Rick's like, all right, let's move down this way, you know. So he tries to save Michonne. It works, right? But now Pearl Thorne is really not wanting Michonne around. So Pearl is kind of letting the power get to her head. That's kind of the thing I'm noticing with her. She's now, you know, in Okafor's position. I feel like Thorne might actually start to be a problem now, which is not what I expected at all. That was a huge throw off, to be honest. But yeah, you know, it's insane. And to be honest, I didn't expect things to go down the way they did, but Rick is getting promoted now, and she lets him know this at the end of the episode. But, you know, now you've got Jadis that's moving in. She's more involved than ever. And I love the scene where she sees Michonne. She's like, oh, did Michonne see me yet? Oh, there it is, you know? And then Michonne's like, Jadis, you know? And Rick pulls her aside. And I found this pretty sad because Rick even says, he's like, if I have to knock you out, you're leaving. You know, I can't leave anymore. But if I have to knock you out for you to get out, then that's what I'm going to do, you know? Which is pretty messed up. It's pretty messed up seeing what the CRM has done to Rick. This was the most broken we've ever seen him, 100%. And, well, it ends in a pretty insane fashion where they're in a helicopter in this, like, big storm. And Michonne says that she's sorry. And she takes Rick. And they, you know, fly out of the helicopter together. Which is pretty crazy. Because now, next episode, they're on the outside. And they don't know what the hell they're going to do. So they did escape. But now it's the question of what's going to happen, you know. So, wow. Absolute wow. So this was an insane episode. I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was intense with Jadis and with, you know, Pearl Thorne and with, you know, everything going on. Absolutely loved this episode. I want to hear your opinions now in the comments. What did you think of episode 3 of The Ones Who Lived? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? I definitely want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos of The Walking Dead. Make sure, of course, to follow me on Dan's The Walking Dead reviews on Instagram, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys really soon for more videos of The Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and peace out.